Once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there was a princess who was born under a wandering star. And this wandering star, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. No, it had been carefully placed there by her very own godmother, the wicked queen of the underworld. The queen had done this to ensure that the princess would grow up to be a child of the night, a creature of darkness like her. As you might have guessed, the princess wasn't your typical Disney princess. Oh no. From the moment she could toddle, she had an affinity for all things eerie. While other little girls played with dolls, she collected shriveled old skulls from the dungeons. When her nurse tried to throw them away, the princess cried, "Don't be silly. These are my friends. We'll play at being skeletons together." As the years passed, her affinity for the macabre only grew stronger. She delighted in scaring the royal chef so much that he eventually fled the kingdom, leaving behind nothing but his finest recipe book, which the princess devoured with great glee. Yes, this was one very unusual princess. And her unusualness peaked when she turned 18, and instead of throwing the most fabulous coming out party the kingdom had ever seen, she threw a funeral inviting 8 lords and 8 ladies, 8 priests and 8 preachers, 8 children and 8 dogs, inviting each to bring a different dish for the feast of the dead. Then, after they had all departed, she danced around the graves in her ghastly gown, singing, "Dance with me, my 8 and more, dance with me till the break of dawn." This went on for many years until one day a prince from a neighboring kingdom came to visit. He had heard tales of the strange princess, and he wanted to see if she was really as scary as they said she was. So he made his way to the castle and sent word to the king that he had arrived. The king was so relieved. Finally, someone who wasn't afraid of his daughter. He quickly summoned the princess and told her, "My dear, we have a visitor. He's here to see if you're as ghoulish as everyone says. If he finds you aren't, I'm going to let him take you off my hands." The princess was very pleased to hear this because even though she loved scaring people, she was also tired of scaring people. You know, a girl's gotta have a change of pace once in a while. So she put on her most beautiful dress, the one with the spider web overlay, and went to meet the prince. She greeted him with a smile that showed off the fangs she kept hidden under her royal lipstick and invited him in for tea. The prince, of course, found her terrifying and asked his royal escort to kill her, to which the princess replied, "Don't be silly. What's a girl gotta do to get some peace and quiet around here?" And when she poured the prince a cup of tea, it was then that the two of them noticed something strange, a shooting star streaking across the sky. The princess gasped and rushed to the window to watch it disappear into the distance. The prince thought this was a good opportunity to escape with his life. But before he could make a move, the princess blocked his way. "You won't leave," she said, "not until you hear my tale of woe." And then, under the light of the new moon, she told him how her godmother, the queen of the underworld, had tricked her father, the king, into marrying a mortal woman, which had resulted in the birth of a half-human, half-fairy princess who was destined to rule the underworld at her mother's side. But alas, the wicked queen had taken one look at her niece and decided she was too much of a handful. So she took the baby to the human world and left her on the doorstep of the unsuspecting king, switching out the real princess with a changeling who would grow up to be the cruelest, most merciless ruler the underworld had ever seen. When the princess finished her story, the prince felt a pang of sympathy for her. Maybe killing her wouldn't be such a good idea after all. In fact, he liked her spunk, he liked her style. Maybe he could look past her creepy hobbies and see the real her, the one trapped inside a tomb of her own making. And maybe, just maybe, he could help her break free. But those are stories for another time. For now, all we need to remember is that sometimes a little darkness can lead to a happily ever after.